Welcome in, I'm Artris, and in this video we're going to be going over Yellow Luffy. Yes, another Yellow Luffy. This one has come out in OP15, and it's a very strong deck. Honestly, this is a deck that I was heavily considering playing competitively, but Lucy just scratched that itch a little bit more, but this deck is incredibly potent. Starting off with the leader ability, it says if your Sky Island type character with 6,000 base power or more would be KO'd or removed from the field by your opponent's effect, you may add one card from the top of your life cards to your hand instead. So any kind of removal, whether that is effect removal or combat removal, then this leader can actually protect its board, meaning that nothing ever leaves, ever. That's one of the biggest things that Yellow always has an issue with, is you can attack the board and drain them of cards from hand, but not this leader, making it a more unique Yellow leader than any Yellow leader we've had before. But before we go over the deck list and into any gameplay, if you're new to the channel, please make sure to hit that sub button and give the video a thumbs up if you enjoy it. Helps out the channel so much. Thank you all for the support. Additionally, if you'd like to talk about the One Piece card game outside of the YouTube comments, make sure to join the Discord community. The link for that is in the description below. So starting off, I'm running a playset of the new Nami from OP15. It's a 2K counter that says look at the top 3 cards of your deck and reveal up to one Sky Island type card and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So this is a nice little searcher in case you aren't finding your main searcher, which is the 2-cost Shura. And on play, look at the top 5 cards, grab a Sky Island type card other than Shura and add it to your hand and return the rest to the bottom of your deck in any order. There is a trigger to play this card, so if it is in life, you get that search for free. There is another set of searchers with the 1-cost stage, but I've opted to not put it in the deck, and we'll go over some of the changes at the end of the video, but for the meantime, these are the main 2 searchers we have in the deck. Then I'm running a playset of Zeus. This is a 2K counter that says you may add 1 card from the top or bottom of your life cards to your hand and KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. Now, I was running between Zeus or the 6-cost Jimbei, which once again, we'll go over everything at the end for some of the changes, but I really like Zeus to be able to answer the board. There's a lot of 5-cost or lower threats that you need to get rid of on the spot, and so this is a great card to be able to answer those cards in a pinch. Now, I have some games recorded with the Jimbei, so you'll probably see that over the course of this video. Ultimately, I was trying to decide which one I liked better. I stuck with Zeus though because I do like the interactivity a little bit more. Then I'm playing a playset of the 4-cost Zoro from OP15. It's an on play. You may trash 1 card from your hand and add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards. So this will be a great card to heal you up in a pinch. If you are going second, don't mind dropping this down on your 4-dawn turn and just healing back up. You are basically cycling a card at that point, but in the late game stages, you can actually use this in conjunction with like the 5-cost Borsalino, which will also heal you, so you can heal up twice in a turn and establish 2 bodies. You can also use this with the Gum Gum Golden Rifle, and more uniquely, if you are running it in this list, which I'm not, if you're running Raigo, you can Raigo and then also Zoro in the same turn, so you're not down to 1 at the end of that turn. Then I'm running a playset of the 4-cost Sanji Searcher from Starter Deck 29. I mentioned that Nami and Shura are the main searchers for this deck. This is also another option to be able to search out some of your Straw Hat crew type characters. This card does not protect itself with your leader ability because it is base 5,000 power, but a couple things here to note that you can find some of your more important pieces being a Straw Hat crew type card, or on top of that, it has a trigger which can come out of life and be a free body, which is pretty nice. Otherwise, once this swings and your opponent wants to get rid of it, I will usually just let it go because it's not worth giving any card out of hand to be able to keep this thing on the field. Then I'm running a playset of the 4-cost Nico Robin from Starter Deck 29. This is a 2K counter that also has a trigger that says if your leader is Luffy, play this card. If this comes out of life, then it is a free blocker, so that's a very nice way to at least keep yourself alive if your opponent is trying to go for lethal. Then I mentioned the 5-cost Borsalino, and this is a card that everyone pretty much knows by now, but it's a blocker, and on play, if you have 2 or less life cards, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards. So it will allow you to protect yourself from a hit because it's a blocker, and then also on top of that, extending the game because you're healing up. Then for the Sky Island cards that we've opted to put in the deck, we have 4 of the Calgara 5-cost 6,000 power that says your turn when a card is removed from your or your opponent's life cards, draw 1 card, and then you cannot draw cards using your own effects during this turn. So what I really like about this card is it keeps the card draw going. You don't really have a card draw engine in this deck, and this is the main one. So if you can establish this on 5 or at least a turn before you start going really wide, I think this is a really good card for those reasons. And of course, you can keep it on the field because your leader ability protects it. Another 5-drop that I really like that came out in OP15 is the 5-cost 6,000 power Wiper. It's an on play. You may turn 1 card from the top of your life cards face up, give all of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power during this turn, then KO all of your opponent's characters with 0 power or less, and then activate main once per turn. Give up to 1 Rested Dawn card to your Sky Island type leader or character cards. So a couple of great effects there. The first one is really good against Lucy, for instance, being able to get rid of their Rebekahs for free if they have Dawn underneath them, or just getting rid of the board. Also, what's really strong about this card is it's great into Purple Enel because all of their characters are 2,000 power or less. So I think this card was meant to be able to counter that deck, which you are a counter to both of those decks I just mentioned. Wiper being one of the main reasons why that matchup is a little bit more easy, because you can actually just get rid of all of their bodies at once if they decide to go really wide. I think most purple Enels will start going tall instead, which is probably the right thing to do. But Wiper, once established, can actually give you a Dawn every turn underneath a character or your leader, so you can actually swing a little bit harder every time, which I really like about this card as well. Then the main reason why you should be running this deck is the 5-cost 7,000 power Secret Luffy. If you have 6 or more Dawn cards on your field, this character gains Rush, and then when your opponent activates an event or blocker, reveal up to 1 card from the top of your life cards. This character gains 1,000 power during this turn per 1 cost of the revealed card. Absolutely nuts. One of the best cards, if not the best card to come out of OP15. I think if you haven't already gotten your copies of this card, they're probably already shooting up by now, but you should probably get them as soon as you can, because I think this is one of those cards that will stick around for metas to come, at least a great yellow staple in my opinion. What's really strong about this in this deck is we're running quite a lot of 4 to 5 cost characters, so that means that most of the time when your opponent activates an event or blocker, you're going to be at least an 11,000 to 12,000 power swing. We have a couple of other characters as well that can boost it up a little bit more, but on average, that's what we're looking at here. One of the reasons why I was running Jinbei in the deck instead of the Zeus is because it's a 6-cost character. You can get a body if your opponent decides to swing at life, or on top of that, you can boost this Luffy by 6,000 power, making it a 13k swing. And this is not just once per turn, so if your opponent uses multiple events or blocks in a turn, it keeps stacking up. So against Purple Enel, where most of their deck is events, this is one of those cards that just completely counters that deck. This card makes the deck absolutely insane just because of the fact that it doesn't ever go away. Your opponent has a hard time dealing with it. Green has really the only clean answer to it, being able to freeze it, but otherwise this character is free to do whatever it wants to. Then we're playing a playset of the 7-cost 7,000 power Nico Robin from OP15. It's an on play. You may add the top card of your life cards to your hand, and if your leader has a Straw Hat Crew type, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards, then play up to 1 Sky Island type character with a cost of 5 or less from your hand. So we have quite a lot of options with this Robin. Obviously the best one is the 5-cost Luffy we just mentioned, but you can add the Wiper, the Kalgara, the Zoro, so there's plenty of other options you can add as well. What's really nice about this card as well is if you have the Kalgara already established on the field, you taking your life to be able to put a life back up counts as this stipulation to be able to give you a card draw. So when you have this on the field and you play the Nico Robin, you can actually get a card draw on top of that, plus play a character. So really great synergy overall, being able to establish a couple of bodies in a single turn, and all of those bodies are going to be sticking on the field very easily. You can probably see that your curve is very strong. If you go first on 5, you can establish a pretty nice body, and then on 7, be able to get this Nico Robin into preferably the 5-cost Luffy and hit twice in a single turn from some characters, which is a lot more than opponents can usually handle. Then we have 2 of the 10-cost Rush Enel. This is if your leader has a Sky Island type, this character gains Rush, and then when attacking, you may trash 1 card from your hand. If your life has 1 or less cards, place up to 1 card from the top of your deck onto your life, then give this character 1,000 power for the turn. So a nice way to at least prolong the game, keep you around that 2 life threshold. Of course, this is one of the few leaders that this card can actually be functional in, because Yellow Enel or Kalgara are the other ones I can think of off the top of my head. I don't think there's any others. And then of course, if this is in life, this 5-cost Luffy can become a 17,000 power swing, which is also quite crazy as well. And then finally, we're running a playset of the Gum Gum Golden Rifle. It's a 1-cost event that says main, if your leader has the Straw Hat Crew type, trash 1 card from the top of your life cards, then add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards, and trash 1 card from your hand. That first effect is usually never going to be happening unless you are at 0, but the second part is a counter that says up to 1 of your leaders gains plus 4,000 power during the battle. So it's a free +4 to your leader for only 1. You don't have to hit anything else besides that, which is very nice. There's a really nice little combo with this card as well. If you do go down to 0, you have to have the 10-cost Enel established already, which is one of the harder things to do to be able to safely do that. But if you do go down to 0 and the Enel is already on the field, there is a full 10 Dawn combo using the Gum Gum Golden Rifle for 1 to be able to heal up to 1. Then you swing with this 10-cost Enel to heal up to 2. Then you play a Borsalino to heal up to 3. And then you use your last 4 Dawn to play this Zoro to heal up to 4. Sure, you are pitching 3 cards out of hand, but you win up to 4 life, and now your opponent has to get past a blocker and 4 life to close out the game, which oftentimes at that point, if you're going back up to 4, the game is done because you've probably just overwhelmed your opponent. So that is a combo to note you can do with Golden Rifle. It happens from time to time. So anyway, that is the list that we're running for today. I'm really happy with this deck overall. I find this leader very strong, has good matchups into a lot of the meta, mostly being into Purple Enel and also Lucy. Both of those matchups are pretty good for you overall. Not a lot of hard matchups other than maybe Green being able to to freeze your board, but other than that, you should be okay. I think this is a very strong pick for the meta. I think a lot of people are hyper-focused on, like I said, Enel and maybe Lucy, and if you want to snipe those decks specifically, this is the deck for you. With that being said, let's take this list into the sim and see how it does. Into Lucy, this matchup is somewhat favored. I would say that a good Lucy player knows how to handle this matchup a little bit more, and they need to see consecutive like Fire Fist to be able to stun my 5-cost Luffy. I need to see 5-cost Luffy as well. So let's go ahead and keep that in mind. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and I mulligan the hand. This hand is fine. I just wanted to see if I could find a 5-cost Luffy. We still have somewhat of a curve. We can go Zoro on this next turn. We have the Zeus back in to be able to answer a Cavendish in case they do play a Cavendish down. We'll go ahead and take this hit, and then we'll swing 5. There's the Luffy, so that's really good for us to see. We'll go 5 into lead here, and then I will go ahead and play the Zoro. I will pitch a Borsalino and heal back up, and then this next turn, they're probably going to play a Cavendish into maybe a Searcher, into maybe a Stage, maybe who knows what it is, but there's a couple of options we could have. There is the 4-cost event to draw 2, trash 1, which will likely play a Cavendish in its place, and then we can go ahead and they will go ahead and draw. What we will do this next turn is potentially swing with the 5-cost Luffy. There's a reason to not, because if they do see their Sabo into a Fire Fist and then they start punishing us by swinging into the Luffy, then that could be a problem. We get a Shura trigger off of that top life, pretty nice to see. I'll go ahead and grab a Wiper because it's pretty good in this matchup to be able to get rid of the Rebecca blockers if they decide to throw them down. Also better for us to be able to trade into things as well, considering that if they establish their 7-cost Sabos, of course, there's one as Speak of the Devil, then we can swing 7s with our 5-cost Luffy. I'm really inclined to just swing 5 here and then maybe even pass, because I don't, like I said, I don't want the Luffy to be swung into and have them get free value off of this. If they want to swing into the Luffy with a Fire Fist, then they can do Bello Betty, their leader, and Cavendish, and they can also use the effect, which means I'm going to go down to 0. And I'm not really wanting to do that right now. Now, we can do this the next turn where we can play a Wiper if they decide to establish a Sabo. Then we can go like Wiper and then be able to trade into the Cavendish, get the Bello Betty off the field. There's a couple things we could do. They also could just play a Fire Fist this turn, the 7-cost Fire Fist, and prevent us from really attacking in. I'll give them a 2k here because I'm not entirely sure what the next order of things could be. This could also be a Flame Fruit, the one that gives us a double attack and +3. One of the best cards in this matchup for them. There is the Fire Fist, as I thought. -8 to this. I'm just going to go ahead and use the effect. So a Zoro on the top just to see what we have coming our way. And then what we can do here is we can go Nico Robin into Wiper. And that will be pretty good for us. And then we will probably be able to... We could also go Nico Robin into Zoro, but I think Nico Robin into Wiper is a little bit better. Let's go do that. Then we'll go ahead and pop the Bello Betty, -2,000 to the Cavendish. We'll swing 6 into 4. Swinging into the bodies is definitely where I think you can start taking advantage of Lucy, because a lot of their cards are counterless, and so they can't necessarily protect their bodies as well unless they have a stage on the field. They run a lot of 2Ks, but the 1K effect for their counter events, or just events in general, doesn't actually take place unless you're swinging at their face. So keep that in mind. That is one thing that you can do. They do give us a 2 and a 1. Nice to see there. We're going to go ahead and give a Rested Dawn to our leader, plus this one right here. I'll swing 7 into them and see if they want to go ahead and block this one, because they could block 1K. That might be their best bet. And then if they do, then our Luffy will be buffed by 4. So he's at what? -1,000 right now. So that still won't be enough. So if they want to block and give us a 1K, that's fine. We did get some value out of them at least. And then we should be okay for this next turn. If they want to start swinging into some bodies, we'll go ahead and protect them. If they want to swing face, then we have the Sanji trigger to come out of life. And then we can have a really big board to start swinging face the next turn. And we will be going into our 8 Dawn turn as well. So if we can kind of manage having the life be around 1, I think I'm okay with that, because we can play the 10-cost Rushanel. We have a lot of 2Ks in hand as well. So we're looking okay. We're looking fine. We'll go ahead and buff our Luffy by 4,000. Doesn't really matter unless they're playing another Fire Fist and they wanted to try to potentially KO it. But usually they're just going to try to prevent it from attacking in. 6 into 5. I think... this is a tough one, because I think another Sabo is coming down. We'll go ahead and take this one because I just want to see what we can get off of this Sanji. We'll pitch a Wiper, or sorry, Zoro. We'll go ahead and grab a Nico Robin. Not really anything that we're going to want to play this next turn, I don't think. If we can protect this life right here, I think we're okay. Now, if they want to swing the other Sabo, then that's where we might have to counter out, because I want to stay at 1. I don't want to be down to 0 right here. There is another Fire Fist to minus the Luffy. Unlucky. Oh well, it is what it is. Kalgara is the next one that is going to be on top of life, so we can take this one if they want. Yeah, we'll go ahead and take this one 8 to 5. They might want to pitch cards. I don't really care. I will take an 8. I'll take a 9. Doesn't really matter. Now this one, if they do want to swing this other Sabo blocker, I'll go ahead and counter out of the one. They decide not to. That's fine. Let's go ahead and see if we can bait something out. Let's go ahead and swing 5 with lead. Then we'll go 5 with the Sanji. They give us the Flame Fruit. That's pretty good. We'll go 5 with Sanji here. Give us another 1k. That's another one out of the way. Let's swing 6 into 6 so we can start pressuring this Cavendish character. I think they're going to really not want to have to deal with that. Probably going to be a problem for them. We're just trying to get cards out of hand the best that we can. So, yeah, I think we're in a pretty good spot here. What we can do is we can swing all of our swings into this Cavendish, including the 10 cost Enel, assuming that it is still alive. And then what I will do is I'll play the 10 cost Enel over the Sanji, because we can't protect the Sanji anyway. And then I will use the Wiper. Okay. Wow, they let that go. Okay, interesting. I think we'll just swing 7 into lead here. See if they block. They just go ahead and take that one. And then I'm going to go ahead and play this Rush Enel over the Sanji, and then swing in, pitching the other Luffy, because we want just as much counter in hand as possible. They go ahead and take that one. They're down to 0. And we have a very big board. They have a couple of blockers. They kind of have to stabilize here, but with this one Luffy, it's really difficult for them to really stabilize. Because if they don't have another Fire Fist to follow this up with, which they're playing it correctly, by the way. They should be kind of like doing the Fire Fist to freeze the Luffy overall. It's preventing them from really like losing the game here. 8 into lead. They might be trying to push for game. Oh, yeah. They're I think they're trying to push for game here. What do they pitch? They pitch so many cards. We'll go ahead and take the 13. I think we'll be able to be countering out of all of this no matter what. We could have countered out of the 13 if we wanted to. Let's just kind of see what they do with the rest of their Dawn. If they want to establish like a swing 12 with the blocker and then 14 or another 13 here. 12 into 5. Now, if they wanted to do it mathematically correct, they should have done 12, 13, 13. But regardless, I would have been able to counter out of all of this. They had to go for game here. Otherwise, they were pretty much screwed. I guess they could have played for one more turn, but honestly, I don't really think that they should be doing that with the board state that they had. And at least 0 life, too. All right, into Emu. I'm interested to see how this matchup goes, because they can't get rid of my board, which is a really good thing for us. And if they decide to block, we have the Luffy in our arsenal to be able to handle them. But we're going to go ahead. We're going to go second, because that's going to be taking them off their curve, of course. Giving them second is like the worst thing you could possibly do. Here, we're going to go ahead and just play Shura on this next turn into probably Zoro, just because they can get rid of the Sanji, but also the Sanji can find the 5-cost Luffy if we can't find it in the next couple of turns as well. So our game plan is pretty set. We have the Jinbei, as you can see. We're testing it out for this game just to see how it goes. Otherwise, Zeus is a fine 2K, but the Zeus wouldn't have any kind of application in this matchup just because we wouldn't be able to KO anything on their side of the field. This turn, what we're going to do is play the Shura, as I said. Double 5-cost Luffy. We're going to try to... I mean, we'll never be able to really cycle back around, but in case we do, there's the 5-cost Luffy at the top. For us, I think what's going to be good here is just to play out the Zoro, heal back up, and then I think pitching the Sanji's fine. As I said, they can't get rid of the Zoro through any kind of effects or even swinging into it, and same thing with the Luffy. So as long as these things stay on the field, I think we're in a pretty good spot, because where Emu starts to really take advantage of the other decks is they can remove the board while also establishing their own, and the longer the game goes on, it just becomes much harder to, you know, get out of all of the attacks that are hitting your way. So we have to really just apply as much pressure as soon as possible. Obviously 5 is all we can swing next turn, but we'll see what they do with that. Here, they're just going to go swing 7 into lead. That's fine. We'll go ahead and take this one. And then I think I'm inclined a little bit here. I'm going to just go ahead and get the 5 out of the way, but playing the Zoro to pitch a Zoro or playing the Zoro to pitch a Sanji, I'm okay with either. Any of these things are fine as long as we just keep a Luffy for the next turn as well. But I think Sanji's probably the best bet just because we want to keep cards in hand that will not die to their effects or any kind of swings either. And Sanji, we just sadly can't protect. So it is what it is. There's a Marcus Mars. That's the one that I'm thinking of. A blocker that they can play on this next turn that will be able to, on effect, be able to get rid of something. And then, obviously, they can swing into my units as well. I am going to just take as much life as possible if that's the case. Use my effect every time I possibly can because we want to keep a really big board. If they wanted to play that Shirahoshi, that'd actually be a pretty good time to do it. But we'll go ahead and take this life. A couple of Borsalinos and a Zoro. We're feeling pretty good, to be quite honest. Okay, so here I think we will likely just play out the Luffy just straight up, because if they want to use a counter event, then the Luffy gets buffed as well, and it's harder for them to get out of that one. So we'll go 5. We'll go 6 here, or sorry, 7 here. Might as well make it efficient, because if they are going to counter out of this one, then the Luffy will be buffed for the next one. If they're going to go and counter any of them, they should counter this one right here. But maybe they're going to go ahead and just take this one if they have a counter, but we'll see. Anyway, 7 into lead, and then if they want to use if they have a +3 or +4, they do have a +3. We're just going to go ahead and use the Luffy effect. We revealed a Luffy. Okay, so we have a Luffy on the top, 12 in the lead here. If you're going to use the effect and you're going to go ahead and take one from Luffy anyway, just go ahead and use the +3 on the Zoro, and then just take the 12 from the Luffy. Just so, you know, in case you're playing this, watching this, just, you know, that's one of the things you can do against Luffy, is you're probably going to take a hit regardless with the Luffy. Take a life, counter out where you can, and then just take the hit. Unless, of course, your board's tapped and you don't want your board to go away. They're just going to go ahead and play the Venus. The Venus is going to be able to swing and then minus something. So if they want to efficiently try to get cards in my hand, by all means, go for it. The 7 into 5, I'm going to use my leader ability. If they continue to do this, I'm going to go ahead and use my leader ability, unless it requires like 1 card out of hand, because then I don't want to take too much life, of course, but having a second Luffy is going to be really good against them, especially if they want to start blockering up in the next turn or two. Emu is going to be in a little bit of pain, of course, but I will say that I want to go ahead and let's go ahead and just counter out of this one so we don't have to take a life necessarily. And then right here, I'll go ahead and just use the effect again. With the Venus, I do want this card off the field because it is going to be a problem to be able to... They can trade efficiently into my bodies, and I'll have to take life if that's the case. So here, let's just swing 7 into the Venus. We're going to swing a bunch of 7s here just to try to get this thing off the field. If they want to protect it, they can try, but I don't think they're going to be able to based off of if they have any counter in hand they're going to use an event for, or if they have counter out of hand just to be able to protect it. Looks like they might just be trying to... They could be trying to divert my attention into the Venus so that I'm not swinging into life here. Regardless, though, I think that eventually they're going to be taking life damage anyway. So let's go ahead and use the effect. Looks like a Shura on top, so only going to be buffed by 2. Unfortunate, but it's still good enough to be able to swing 9 into 5. Then we'll go another 9 into 5 here. And then they're going to be going into 9. They're 9 on turn, and I can play one more Luffy. I would say that they're in a lot of trouble. If they block her up here, then... so be it, that's good for them, but it doesn't really matter because the Luffy kind of just bypasses blockers, or makes it difficult for opponents to block efficiently because you never know what I'm going to be getting. And if I can take a life here, I absolutely will. They play Jupiter to play out the +2, or I guess it's, you know, +2 for everything. I would probably keep that in hand. They're going to go ahead and Marcus Mars. You're going to go ahead and Marcus Mars this one. I will go ahead and just use the effect here. And then if they want to swing 6 into the Zoro, so be it. I will counter out of that one, or I might even just like take it just to take it. It doesn't really matter. Regardless, we're going to be able to close out the game here. They have 2 cards in hand, 1 life, and we're going to be able to play one more 5-cost Luffy. I think in this matchup, the opponent probably didn't need to play out the Jupiter here, but I don't think it really mattered too much, to be quite honest. This is a matchup where I think Emu just kind of struggles. So let's go ahead and just give him a 1k here. So we aren't taking the life just to be safe. And then I will go ahead and... let's swing 5 just to get 1 card out of hand and see if they block out of this one. Then we can just easily math it. I mean, we could math it out anyway, but yeah. Okay, if they're taking that one, let's go ahead and play the other Luffy, and then they're going to be forced to block one of these. We'll go 6 into 5. They can give us a 2k, and then we'll just go 7, 7, 7, and then based off of whatever we have in life, it's going to be buffed like crazy. So it looks like an Eco Robin, so +7. So yeah, that's all game. 19 in the lead here. What do they have as the remaining couple cards? Okay, so they were going to be able to pop off in the next turn, but this is why this deck is so strong. They can't remove the bodies, and the rush on the Luffy is just insane. Into Enel, this matchup is pretty favored for us. I think that this hand is actually pretty solid. We see the pieces exactly what we need. We have a Shura into a Sanji, into a potential Wiper or Luffy play, depends on what they play on their side. If they go really wide, I think the Wiper is really good. If they don't, then we can just play out the Luffy and be fine. Shura is really good to be able to grab a rifle at this point. We could grab a Calgar, but we already have one in hand, and having something to just have a safe measure against super aggressive decks is really nice, to be able to not go down to 0 and have to worry about dying the next turn. So this next turn, what we'll do is we'll play Sanji, unless, of course, we get a Zoro. And Zoro might be a little bit better than the Sanji because, obviously, they can interact with the Sanji a little bit easier. Here, they're going to play out the Pudding. use their leader ability to swing 6, and then another 6. We'll go ahead and just take one of them, and then we actually don't have a 2K, so we'll have to take both of them here. Unfortunate, but that's fine. We'll go down to 3, and then I will swing the Shura into the Satori. I see some Enels counter out of this, and I understand why, because it's kind of like saving an attack to life. It seems like they're thinking about it, but honestly, I would just let it go if I were them, because like, why? I mean, they're losing the card in the hand, and yeah, that's what I was going to say. They're losing the card, and then what's the point? They're going to lose the body as well. So we'll swing 5 into lead here. If they want to use Momoragon, this is a pretty good time to use it, because it's a +1 and a draw. That card is so good. It's such a good card. We'll go ahead and play out the Sanji, and then I guess we can grab a Nico Robin or a Zoro. Gosh, there's 2 Zoros. We have a Nico already in hand. I think I want to grab the Zoro here just to be safe with an extra bit of healing. So we have a Borsalino, Zoro, and a Rifle. They're playing down this Enel pretty early, which is unfortunate to see. But hey, I mean, they're going to see their curve more than likely, right? Especially with the Satori being the first thing that hit the field. If they swing 6 with the pudding, I think I can go ahead and give them a 2K. I think that's fine, right? 2K, Momoragon to be able to rest the Sanji. They might be swinging into the Sanji. If they swing into it, I am okay with that because this body is not really doing much. They're going to go ahead and Lightning Beast Chitin to be able to... It's spelled Chitin, but I guess it's maybe Kitten because there's like a wolf thing on it. I don't know. 6 into 4 is what they're going to be swinging regardless. We'll go ahead and take this one. We'll let it go down. We don't mind. And then if they want to swing 6 into 2... then so be it. 5 into 2, that's fine. I think I still need to get rid of this pudding regardless because of the fact that it will be able to swing for 6 this next turn. So let's go ahead and just play out the Luffy as a safe measure in case they want to start using any kind of counter events to be able to protect themselves. If they were, smart, they'd probably not use any counter events. Just let the pudding go and then take the 7. I'm going to leave one open for a Gum Gum Rifle just in case. I don't really think that there's ever a world where I need to use it this turn, but, you never know. So this next turn, though, for us, we can play a Nico Robin into... this is a tough one. Nico Robin into probably a Calgara to start, like, flowing a little bit more card draw in our hand. That'd be pretty nice, I'd say. This turn, though, they'll probably go 6 into lead. If they go 6 into lead, we'll give them a 2K, and then we'll take the Enel hit, the big boy. And then this next turn, like I said, we'll play the Nico Robin. We have a couple of options if they want to establish like a bunch of little bodies. The Wiper's really good for that. 14 into 7, we'll go ahead and use our leader ability and just go ahead and rip the top life. And if they go 6 in a lead, we'll give them a 2K here. Don't want to go down to 1. That's a little bit scary. There is a world where we do play the Zoro out as well to heal up, but I'm on the fence. I'm a little bit on the fence here. Regardless, the Nico Robin is the right play, I think. Let's go ahead and play the Nico Robin. Oh, all right. Well, we ripped a Luffy off the top, so that's even better. I think that's probably the best option out of all the things we could have gotten. So a couple of Luffys is really nice. They're going to use Momoragon, and we'll go ahead and... We have the 10 cost Enel on top, so that's actually really good for us. We'll swing 17 into 10, and then we'll swing 17 into lead. See, this is why this card is so strong and why it is also just so good against Enel. That 10 cost is really just going to put in work. They need to get that card off the top of the life. Otherwise, these Luffys are going to be doing so much damage every turn. And on top of that, if they get that card off of life, it goes to my hand. So it means I can use it this next turn because we will be going to 10 Dawn. So we're in a pretty good spot. I think that 10 cost Rush Enel is actually really good in this matchup as well because it's able to swing into the 6 cost Enel pretty efficiently. It swings 12 into 10. They're going to go ahead and play the Shura, which has Rush. Use their leader ability to swing 6. Go ahead and give them a 2K. They'll probably swing 7 here. And I think I'm going to go ahead and just give them a 2 and a 1 because I want to be at that 1 life threshold. I want to be able to balance that. And then 10 into 7, we'll go ahead and use our leader ability there. And then here, what we can do, since we are at 1, we'll go ahead and play out the Enel. I want to swing 5 into the Shura. So let's go ahead and swing 5 into that, see if they use anything, and kind of get a gauge as to what we have at top of life. They pitched a card, I think accidentally. We'll swing 7 into lead here. 7 is a really awkward number for them because they have to, they don't run a lot of, just natural counter. I guess they have, a couple of 2Ks in the deck. They have to give us a 2 and a 1 if they don't want the Luffy to be triggered, of course. And if they do want to use any kind of counter event, then they're going to have to, at least we'll be able to see what's on the top of the life. 7, we'll go ahead and, this is an interesting one. Do we swing the Luffy? I think we swing the Luffy. I don't know. I feel like the Swinging the Luffy's fine. Swinging this means that they're going to give us a 2 and a 1, and if they give us a 2 and a 1, then I think I want to go ahead and swing the 10 cost Enel into the rested 6 cost Enel. And then from there, they might give us counter, like a counter event, and depending on what the life is, we might be able to swing again, like another 12 into 10, or we could just pressure face as well. They're going to go ahead and give us 3 1Ks, which means that they don't really have a lot of natural 2Ks in their hand, which is pretty good for us. With that being said, I think that means we just play out this 10 cost Enel. We're going to go ahead and swing 12 into 10, using our ability to give it plus 1,000 and then heal another one. We'll pitch out the Zoro because we don't need this many bricks. Mamaragon. And to it revealed a Luffy, so plus 5 into another counter event, so it's another plus 5. So this is pretty good. A 17 into what is 10, which means they're probably going to block this one with the Reiju. They could also, they're letting it go. That's fine. If I were them, I'd probably block that one just because I think that this Enel's pretty powerful. But maybe they need the blocker for some safety. I would imagine could be a problem for the next turn or two. They might need to be able to block something because look at this board. 5, 7, 11, and then the Luffys are going to be buffed based off of if they use any counter events. I think it's game over at this point. Yeah, I'd say so. With 3 Lightning Dragons, a Gamma Knife, and a Holy, I think that they were in a lot of trouble there. Wow. Green-Purple Luffy, I will admit, is probably one that's going to be a little bit more difficult for us. We're going to go second. We have a Sanji into a 5-cost Luffy. If they do see some of their individual like free stuff, like the 1-cost event, the Luffy event, or if they see Luna, then it becomes really difficult for us, especially if we have our Luffy's tap sideways. So something to keep in mind there. We'll go ahead and swing 5. I could play the Zoro, or I could play the Sanji. I think I'll play the Sanji out just because I don't have to pitch a card out of hand. We'll go ahead and grab the Nico Robin. Pretty solid option there. This next turn, I think what I want to do is just go ahead and establish the Luffy. And I'm going to be a little bit greedy and probably swing with the Luffy as well. We'll go ahead and take this 6. Actually, I'm thinking about maybe countering. Just, I don't know, 3 life is a little scary against this deck, but we'll go ahead and take it anyway. We'll swing 5 since they didn't use their leader effect, so we can actually like, pressure them pretty nicely here. We'll go 5. Maybe a 5 or 6, depends on what they do here. I think 5 again is pretty good. And then what we could do is play out the Luffy and then swing in with a 7. We could also play like any of the other options and then have a double, like maybe play a Zoro or a Wiper, but I think just swinging 8 here is probably fine, especially since they took that 5. Might as well put them down to 1. They do have a lot of cards in hand, and this is a deck that is very defensive, so something to keep in mind. They do play the Sanji and Pudding that they grabbed off the Zoro Juro. They're going to go ahead and use their leader ability, buff themselves up to 6, and get a bunch of Dawn back. They could play another Sanji and Pudding if they want to, but then they'll be tapped out. This could be a turn where they do play Luna, or because I have 2 units rested. Okay, well, there's the Luna. Because I have 2 units rested, then there's always the potential of the stronger event, which could also rest 2 as well. 7 into lead. I'll go ahead and take this one, and if they go on to give it another 7 here, I guess I'll just have to take it and then play a little bit more defensively. At least we get a Sanji trigger, but I don't know if that's going to be the best thing overall, just because it's not going to be able to naturally swing into what they have. We'll go ahead and pitch the Nico Robin, and then I guess we could have kept the Nico, but I think overall we're in a little bit of a rough spot. We'll have to heal up here, play out the Zoro, heal back up. We could play another Zoro and heal back up again, and then take another turn off, I suppose, just to heal back up to 3, be a little bit more comfortable, and then if they have another Luna, then yeah, that might be a problem for us, but it could also be a situation where they don't have another Luna. We could play it out, but they usually have a couple. Based off of their hand size, they probably are sitting on like another one or maybe another 2 as well. This is where it could be a little bit dangerous. Okay, Sanji and Pudding to then play out the 6-cost Luffy. They're seeing their combo. This is definitely what they want to be seeing here. If I saw another Luffy, I think I'd be okay, but 7 into lead. We'll go ahead and take this one. That Enel's fine based off of the fact that we're going to be going to a low life total again. We'll go ahead and counter out of this one since we are going to be taking this last one as well. And if they swing 7, leave 3 open, it usually means that they have a Luna. Yikes, that's probably the case. They probably have no Luna. Okay, so they're just leaving Dawn open. Will we be able to mathematically get out of this? Let's go ahead and just swing 6 into lead, see what we can do. The best way to fight a Gum Gum Giant is to start swinging just like base numbers here. So that's something to keep in mind. 6 into lead. I'm going to go ahead and I could double heal, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and leave Dawn open for the rifle, play a Borsalino to heal up, just swing 6s across the board. Just, you know, ask for counter out of hand, keep it where they have to give us, if they use like a giant or something, we might be able to. Okay, Mama Ragon's pretty good to be able to swing into a body on the board. Because they use that, we're going to go ahead and swing, I think, another 6, but this time we're going to swing 6 into the Zoro because I don't think... This is a tough one. I think we swing into the Zoro here because it's kind of the same thing, and maybe they'll let the body go. There's a 2K, and then we'll go ahead and swing 12 into 7. They're going to probably have to let this one go regardless. And then we'll go ahead and play out the Borsalino. We'll leave open enough Dawn, so if they want to go ahead and use Dead Man's Game on the Borsalino and one of our Dawn, at least we have one open for the +4. But I think we're in a spot where they're probably going to be able to go for game here. This is the best part of like playing GP Luffy, is that they have like lethal out of nowhere, and it's not really nowhere. They have been establishing a pretty nice board, and this last turn we asked for so many cards out of hand, so if we survive this turn, I think we're in a pretty good spot to be able to push for game this next turn. Now, this board is also very nice and juicy for an Electrical Luna, so if they have a Luna, it might be game over. It might actually just be game over if that's the case, but we'll have to see if they have it. That's one of the things about Luna, is it's not searchable, and if they, if they have it, they have it. If they don't, they don't. So we'll go ahead and I think we just take... There's a world where we counter out of this one because it is a 7. It's probably might be the easiest thing to counter out of. So we'll go ahead and give them a 2 and a 1, and then force them to swing a little bit differently. Okay, 7 in the lead. We'll go ahead and take this one because if we counter out of this one, then maybe the double attack will go through. There's a world where we could play this out, this Nico Robin blocker. I think what we do here is... Do we block this one? I'm so incentivized to keep the Borsalino just because of the fact that if they have a Luna, then we need to be able to close out the game. Okay, there is the stronger event to be able to freeze the Luffy and the Sanji. Then they're going to swing 8 into 5. I think what I could do here is just... I think probably just use the rifle, or I could give them a couple of 2Ks. I think 2Ks is fine as well, just in case we need to heal here. The Zoro... Okay, so we have a lot of swings. We can go 8. Actually, let's just swing... Like I said, we'll swing base numbers here into what is potentially a Gum Gum Giant. That's the thing where you just swing bases. 6. You see, they're using a Giant to be able to get out of 6 here. That's pretty nice. And then what we can do is swing another 6 with this Borsalino blocker. And then we'll swing 15 with lead. And then hope that they don't have, double Giant and enough to get out of it. They have to have double Giant, which is possible. They have 2 Dawn open left. And then if they have double Giant, they'd have to give us a 2K on top of that. So they have to have perfect counter to be able to get out of this. I've seen it happen before. It might happen again. So that's usually the GP Luffy way. Let's see if they have it. They have double. They have double Giant. They have it. They have it. Oh no, they might have it. They actually probably at this point have another 2K that they drew into. Yeah, GG at that point. We were very close. I think we played it pretty well. Let's see what that final hand was. Yeah, perfect counter. Oh man. All right, another matchup into Enel here. As you can see, we're running the Jinbei. I think that in this matchup, I'd rather have Zeus. But this hand is fine because what we can do is we are going second. We can play the Zoro into a Wiper. Kalgara might be a better option as well. It just depends on how wide they go. But if we can get a 5-cost Luffy in the meantime, I think that's also a pretty solid option. We'll play out the Nami just to have something to be able to swing into the small bodies, grabbing a rifle just in case they do have where they play out like Ohm into Holy eventually. Then if we go down to 0, we have some safety to be able to heal back up with rifle and Zoro. There's the Ohm. Another Ohm coming down as well. That's actually pretty difficult to deal with both of these if they want to play out a Holy. Then they're going to swing 6 into lead with the Satori looking at the top 2. This card is so good, just being able to filter their deck. If they want to put the 2 at the bottom, they totally can. This is insane gaming from their end. This is kind of like a miracle deck for Enel. But anyway, 6 in the lead. I think what we have to do here is, we could take both because we are going to be healing back up with Zoro. It's kind of just like taking one, so we can see what card we can pitch with the Zoro. Over the next 2 hits, I think is probably fine. Yeah, I think we're just going to pitch out the Kalgara. We have too many Kalgaras, and it is a good card, but I don't necessarily think it's going to be a great card to play. The Shura is a great trigger to be able to replace the 2K Nami that we had in hand with another one. And then what we can do is we can play the Shura, or rather swing the Shura into the Satori, and then swing 5 into lead, play out the Zoro, heal back up, and then we could, depending on what we have over the next turn or two. Right now, I'm leaning towards playing out the Wiper this next turn because they do have a lot of small bodies on the field. This turn would be a very good 6-cost Enel turn, or it could also be a Holy turn. Either one is going to be very difficult for us to deal with over the course of a game. I think what's going to be easier to deal with is actually the 6 cost Enel, because if the Holy comes down, which there's a 6 cost Enel, if the Holy comes down, we can't actually pop the Ohms because they're going to be base power 6,000, so we wouldn't be able to actually use the Wiper effect, or efficiently rather. Enel is pretty good here because they can just grab whatever card they need for the next turn. If they want, they can rest the Nami, swing into the Nami, swing into the Shura, get rid of the small pokes, because these are going to be answering their board, but I think that they're more inclined to probably just swing 6 into lead with the Ohm, 6 into lead with the Enel, and then maybe swing with the Ohm to get rid of the Shura. Although the Ohm is actually a pretty good attacker by itself because it does give you a minus 1,000 when it swings, so pretty good here. If they swing and they want to reduce the Zoro, another Shura comes out of life. That's pretty good. We'll go ahead and grab a 5 cost Luffy off of that one. If they do want to reduce the Zoro here, oh gosh, do I want to give him a 1k? I think it's fine to go ahead and just give him a Calgara 1k. Regardless, what I was trying to say is they could reduce the Zoro, Mamaragan, and then freeze it if they wanted to, but that's a little bit, I mean, at this point, it seems like they're not going to try to do that. Thor is a pretty good option to be able to get rid of a 3,000 power unit. I think they're going to hold on to it for a better unit overall. We're going to go ahead and just play out the Wiper because we're just going to wipe their entire field. And then we will go ahead and use the effect here. Do we want to swing 6? Do I dare say it? 6, 7? We'll go swing 6 and then we'll swing 7. We could also swing another 6 as well just to, you know, defeat the meme. But I think overall, I think it's probably better to just swing 6 and then 7. And then the following turn, what we can end up doing is, well, play out the Nico Robin into a 5 cost Luffy. I actually think that's a really strong play from us to be able to do that, because what we will be doing by then is having 4 units to be able to swing our leader, and then 3 characters, and then one of them being the 5 cost Luffy is incredibly strong. Obviously, we want to keep this 10 cost Enel on the field, or in life rather, because if we can keep it in life, then we can buff our 5 cost. We have 2 Nico Robins, so we'll go ahead and pitch one of them. They did use a Lightning Dragon to freeze out the Zoro. That's totally fine. It's not the worst thing in the world for us. We have to take this hit, of course, and then we'll go ahead and grab the 10 from that, which means that we want to kind of balance with the Holly coming down or Holy coming down. It's Holly written, but I've always said Holy because earlier in, I think, what was it, OP15, it was like Ohm Holy, what you would play as the combo. Oh god, this is too many Enels. We actually are in a little bit of trouble here. We'll go ahead and play out the Luffy. We'll swing 5 into lead, and then we can just swing a couple 7s, and I'm going to leave 1 open for the rifle. But what I'm saying is we are in some trouble here because of the fact that this Holy is going to be able to double attack the last 2 life that we have. So we are in a little bit of a situation here. They don't have any blockers, which is pretty nice, unless they want to use like an event here and make their Reiju a blocker. But they're probably just more likely going to take these hits and go down to 1. And then we kind of have to race them if that's the case. Oh gosh, this is a good old-fashioned race. Now, they could reduce the power of the Luffy and freeze it, because it could be where they use an effect to minus 1,000 power and then use the Lightning Dragon to freeze it. But if they do that, then it's not going to work because we can use the effect to buff it first. So something to keep in mind, of course. If they had an Ohm on the field still, then they could actually do that effect without having me buff their character. So pretty good if they kept the Ohm, but that's one of the reasons why Wiper is so good in general. And then here, if they are able to make the Reiju double Reiju blocker, that's pretty good for them. Is it good for us? No. It's actually a world where we're in a lot of hurt here, and we might have to kind of desperately go for game because they are actually adding a lot of aggression to their game plan. We don't have a great way to heal up here. Just depends on what they have. There is the Lightning Beast to be able to minus 1,000 power to something. Probably going to be, I would imagine, okay, I was going to say Zoro or Wiper. Looks like the Zoro. We'll go ahead and just use the effect to see what we have. We have a Zoro coming up on top of life, so another brick. Love to see it. There's a Lightning Dragon to freeze something. What is it? Maybe the Wiper? It doesn't matter. Either of them are going to be fine. We don't need to buff our unit anymore. I was just worried about potentially, you know, it losing its power to be able to then freeze, but as long as we buff it once, we should be okay here. And now the Reijus are online for blockers, so this is where it gets a little bit tough. Where do we extend the game any more than we can? Is it possible? That's a tough one. There's another Lightning Beast to minus the, I would assume Wiper. Maybe another Zoro. They've already frozen. Maybe they're just trying to get card draw going. That's probably what it is. Just trying to see what they have. Okay, so minus 1,000 to the Wiper. I think they're just trying to cycle a little bit through the deck. Down comes the Satori. Just trying to find more cards. This is one of the reasons why this deck is so good. It just filters through their deck as much as possible. Oh, they're opting to swing 9 here. Okay, that's even worse. Okay, 10. We'll have to give them a +4 and a 2K. And then if they want to try to close out the game with a 5, 7, 10, they could actually end up doing that. But, well, they can't actually do that because I have enough counter. But, you know, this is a little bit of a scary situation. For us, how do we win from here? That's a really good question. They're going to go ahead and just cycle a little bit more. Mamaragon to be able to dig a little bit deeper into the deck. Rest the Shura. It doesn't really matter too much. I think they're just trying to find as much as possible for this next turn to be able to survive. And if I need to play a double Luffy, I might actually have to. Thor. What are they Thoring? They Thoring the Shura? Interesting. They're going to go ahead and, yeah, kill the Shura. That's fine. Buff their 6-cost Enel. And then I think we just have to kind of go for game. I think that's what we have to do. 6 cards in hand, 1 life, 2 blockers. That's where the 5-cost Enel comes in really handy. We have a couple of swings. We have the Nico Robin. We have the Wiper. Yeah, we'll go ahead and just use the effect here. Take that life. And then I think what I want to do is just establish the 5-cost Luffy. We could double 5-cost Luffy, but I also want to have some Dawn available to play with. So yeah, we're we're in a weird spot here. I think we kind of just have to go for game. So let's go ahead and, all things considered, I think the best course of action is to play one of the 5-cost Luffys. I want to play both, but I think playing one is fine so we can get the Wiper ability first. Let's swing 5 into lead, see if they use any kind of counter. If they're going to use a counter, they should just use the 1K here because they have quite a lot in the deck. There you go. We'll swing 7 into lead after this. This one is going to be a little bit harder for them to just free counter. They have to give us a 2 and a 1 naturally, which is not the easiest thing for this deck to do. They have a lot of counter, but of course, any counter that they use is going to be able to buff up their Luffy, or my Luffy rather. And then I will be able to swing 7 with the Wiper as well. If they want to block, that's also where the Luffy comes in handy. If they take this one, I think they're in a lot of trouble. They're in a lot of trouble if that's the case, because then I can just play the other Luffy and then really start swinging in. And then swing 7, 7, 7. There is the Mamaragon. Nice to see. +6. That's where the Jinbei comes in handy. That's where the Jinbei's coming in handy. Love to see it. Okay, well that is really nice for me, because what that means is I'm going to go ahead and just play out this other Luffy and then swing 7 with this Wiper. And if they want to use any more effects after that, it's just going to buff the other Luffys and make it impossible for them to really defend, because with these 3 attacks, with any kind of effects they might have, is just going to buff this Luffy. So let's go ahead and just swing this first Luffy, because what's going to end up happening is they're going to have to block this one, and that's going to buff the Luffy I just played. And then if they block the other one, it's going to buff it again, and we'll swing 19. So yeah, at that point, the Luffys came in clutch. I don't like having to go for game there, but it worked out. As you can see, this deck is mostly just 5-cost Luffy gaming. The more Luffys we stuck on the field, the better our chances of winning were. Obviously, against decks like Emu, where this 5-cost Luffy can just terrorize it, it really just shines. Obviously, they didn't see their best curve, but that's besides the point. And then in the Enel games, this card just goes crazy. So yeah, this is a great anti-meta pick, especially if you're experiencing a lot of purple Enels, a lot of Lucy's in your meta. I think this deck is a great answer to that. Now I want to talk about some of the additions you can make. Now, as you saw in some of the gameplay, we had Jinbei, and some of the gameplay we had Zeus. I ultimately think for a competitive setting, I think Zeus is better. But if you're wanting a little bit more of a casual or like a high roll version of the deck, I think Jinbei is actually a pretty solid 2K as well. It's a body to come out of life, and it can also buff, as you saw in some instances, this Luffy by 6,000, which is a really nice stat line. Some other considerations for the deck would be Gadatsu, because it can also KO things on play. So that's a nice little option as well. Although I don't think this one is nearly as good as this Wiper, because the Wiper has better return. Of course, the classic combo from all the way back in OP15, when Yellow Enel was thriving, the 4-cost Ohm into 3-cost Holy is an option you can run in this deck as a solid 4-cost turn. Now, this card doesn't necessarily protect itself with your leader ability, because it doesn't mean that it is a base power of 6,000 when you go to 2 or less life. It's going to be a 5,000 power, and same thing with the Holy. But if you want to really just get a huge board going and poke your opponent down, be really annoying. And then, of course, these will go down. They'll act as blockers. This is a solid option as well. You could replace this 4-cost Sanji with it, although I think you'd have to find room for the 3-cost Holy. You can make room by cutting some other things elsewhere, but I really like this package overall, and I don't want to necessarily cut down on these if I don't have to. So I think with Ohm, I tried it out a little bit, and I wasn't super impressed, but it is an option you can run. If you're feeling rich, you can run this 5-cost Nami. It doesn't have Sky Island typing, so your leader can't protect it, but of course, if your opponent swings into it, you can bring out other bodies with it, so that's a nice little caveat there. Of course, you can also run this 7-cost Nico Robin as well, being able to heal, and then on KO, you can deal damage to your opponent. This card is not Sky Island, so you're not able to protect it, but of course, if it does go down, you're pretty happy with that. But all in all, I find this deck to be incredibly powerful. I think that I have a higher win rate on this deck than I do any other. The 5-cost Luffy is the best card in the game, in my opinion. But I think that over time, we'll see this card really pop off. Especially in this deck, it's really strong because you can protect it. But in other yellow decks, if this card comes down, it's just a menace to a lot of decks out there. So I think that this card is just going to put in more mileage as the game goes on. That being said, what do you think about Yellow Luffy? What other spicy additions have you added to the deck that maybe I didn't consider? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.